What we do here is go back.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Everyday with Zach Jose. My name is Zach Jose, and today on the podcast I have my father, Jonathan.
Hello, Zach.
Hey.
Thanks for having me on your podcast again.
Oh yeah, anytime. Do you want to tell us about today's topic?
Well, yeah. You invited me to come as a guest speaker on your podcast, the topic that we're talking about tonight is our favorite movies of all time. I think you asked me to compile a list of my favorite top 10, or my top 10 favorite, rather, and I actually have come up with a list of 13 and about 10 or 12 honorable mentions.
Okay.
So I don't know if we're going to have time to get through all of them, but yeah, this should be fun.
Yeah.
How many do you have on your list?
I have 9, it looks like. Oh gosh.
9.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I am more than double your age, so.
Let's make it 10 here. Boom. So, let's start up. Let's just go bottom to top and see how it ranks and going. So, you want to start us off? Well,
Are we just jumping right into it?
Yeah.
Well, hang on. Let me count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right. I have 13 of them, and I don't necessarily have them
like in
ranked
order.
Exactly. Let me start toward the bottom of the list here with Apollo 13.
Apollo 13.
Apollo 13.
That's the space one?
Are you kidding?
No, I've seen it before.
I guess we could have done a little bit more research, and I could have given you the dates of when these were released. But Apollo 13.
Let me look it up. Yeah, tell me about it.
This is Tom Hanks, and the story of the astronauts that went up to do a moon landing and then had a catastrophe on board and almost didn't survive the trip. So, needless to say, they didn't land on the moon. They shot around the moon and came back to Earth, and miraculously they survived the trip due to an extremely tremendous effort from the entire team that supported the astronauts down, I guess, in NASA. They're probably, I think, this is what made the term NASA, we have a problem. Made
Houston.
That one famous.
Houston, we have a problem.
Is it what it is? Houston, we have a problem?
Yeah, I thought the phrase was Houston, we have a problem.
Oh, well, you must be right.
Yeah. You're okay. All right, that's a good one. That's I think the one scene I remember is when he's eating the orange juice pellets.
Orange juice pellets?
In low grav. Is that?
I don't remember the orange juice pellets, but I do remember the low gravity or the no gravity scenes.
So sick.
And how, I guess when they filmed it, they were in a giant airplane, like a 747 or something, and they constantly just flew up and down and did the zero gravity scenes with zero gravity. And the set was on board with this this giant airplane. And when they would climb to a high, altitude, and then do a dive, and in that dive they get about 30 seconds of weightlessness, something like that. And so if you notice all of the scenes of the shots with weightlessness, they're less than 30 seconds. It's because that's how they did it. So anyway, amazing how they were able to pull that off.
Okay, you want to go into
What's your top or your
okay.
bottom?
Okay, number 10, the bottom one, bottom of the top. For me, it's gonna be Scott Pilgrim versus the World. That's Edgar Wright directed it. It's Michael Cera's the guy. Anyways, I don't know if you've ever heard it or seen it before, but it's a story about how this kid finds this one girl and he dates her, and then she goes, you know what, if you really want to keep dating me, then you have to find and defeat my 7 evil exes. And so it's him, and it's just like totally like video game stylized, combat sequences, and he has to go and defeat all of her exes. It's pretty sweet.
I actually did see it. I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
It's not in my top 10, but I did enjoy that movie. I do like Sarah. And who was who was his love interest?
Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I think. Yeah, she's pretty cool.
I couldn't place her, but I do remember watching the movie and thinking
Mm-hmm.
that she was cute. So, all right, my turn again.
Yeah, let's see it.
The Italian Job.
Oh,
So you might notice a theme, but I definitely like heist movies, and so the Italian Job and the franchise for that matter. But the Italian Job, the first one of that franchise, was I thought great. Mark Wahlberg, Charlize Theron.
when did that one
bunch.
come out?
Oh, 2003.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
that was a good one.
this was the year after you were born, I guess. Is that right? No, 3 years, after you were born.
I was born.
3 years after you were born. So
That's a good one. I remember watching that in the was it Master Spas? Can we talk about that?
let's just call that a life, a previous life.
Yeah, watching that in an empty hot tub.
That's right. We were in the hot tub, and there was the TV that when you pressed a button, it would pop up out of the hot tub, and you could watch movies. So that's right, and we had that playing. Okay, what's your next one? Oh, by the way, that was Mini Cooper days. I used to drive a Mini Cooper back then.
That was so sick. My next one is Ratatouille, the Pixar film.
Okay.
Yeah, it was okay. Let me tell you, that is a great film. Not only is it rewatchable, and I watched it as a kid, so it was good. But like, it's got what's his name, Patton Oswalt, him voice acting for. I don't want to. I think yeah, he did do Remy, right? Amazing. That and all the like the food scenes and just the French, aesthetic that they had going throughout the film, wonderful. The At the end they have the message, right? How Gusteau said, anyone can cook, not necessarily saying that everyone can cook and that you can find a chef in every single home in the country, but he said that anyone can cook and that you could find a chef at any home, and like a chef could come out of anywhere basically, and Remy being that representation was really super cool. I did like it a lot.
Is that a Disney movie? Pixar movie?
I think it's Pixar.
I did see it. Again, it's not in my top 10, but that was definitely a cute movie, or a good movie. I do have a couple of Disney Pixar movies in my honorable mentions.
I would say my favorite scene out of that entire movie is when he's describing food to his brother, and they have the soft jazz and like the bebop playing with each other. I still think about that sometimes.
I definitely love one of the concepts of you take one item and you eat it, or one food item and it's good. You take another food item, it's good, but when you combine them together, it's magical.
Yeah.
What a great idea, or great concept. Okay, my next one, Bourne Identity.
Ooh.
So, and that whole franchise for that matter, but of course Jason Bourne, who was a black ops operative who was essentially a trained assassin who loses his memory, and in an op he somehow blacks out and has this event. He blacks out, loses his memory, and spends the whole movie trying to figure out who he is. Great movie. One of my obviously top 13.
That's, I think, my favorite part about the movie is how, like, during the fight scenes, he always looks so confused. He goes, how do I know how to throat chop this guy? And he goes, but he's doing such a good job, right?
Or how he all of a sudden starts speaking a foreign language and almost doesn't realize that he knows how to do that. Yeah, that was well done.
Yeah.
And what's great is, like we were talking about before, it's a great movie when it kind of stands the test of time. You could still watch it now, and I mean, most of the movies that you watch that are 20 years old are cheesy. The cinematography is poor. Obviously, they didn't have the technology we have today in terms of SGI and stuff, but still, just the way that it was filmed, it's still a movie that can hold your attention and keep you drawn in.
Oh yeah. definitely did a good job. You want to with your next one? I mean, we're kind of like, shoot, how many do you have left?
I have, I don't know, a bunch more, 9 more.
9 more. Okay.
And is it my turn again? It's your turn, but I have more than you.
Yeah.
Let me do another one.
Okay.
How about this one? How about this one's kind of a dark movie, Training Day.
Oh.
Denzel Washington.
Yeah. That's a good one.
And Ethan, what's his name? Ethan, I almost said Ethan Hunt. It is, anyway, there's, what is his name?
Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke
Yeah.
is a rookie, and on his training day, he goes out on his first day on the job with Denzel Washington, the head of this department, and has an incredible day.
That's like one of those movies where it's like done in like 24 hours, right?
Yes, exactly. It's just one day,
Like a fever dream.
and it's just a dark movie, underbelly of the world,
Yeah.
drugs and money, and yeah, it was really one of my favorites. Just Denzel Washington is a fantastic actor anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't know, this is probably one of my favorite performances of his. He plays just a fantastic bad guy.
I do like that a lot. That was a good one. Okay. Training Day. I remember watching that with you and Jeremiah, and then just like my heart was racing pretty much the entire time. And I was like, what's going to happen? Because they were like, especially at the end. I don't know. That was good.
When was it released? Can you look it up real quick? When was that released?
Yeah.
And when did I allow you to watch it with me?
Oh, we
Because
were
it was
just-
definitely a rated R.
Yeah. 2001.
2001. So
It must have been like,
you were 1 year old. So
there you go. Okay. Next one. I got a good one. So my number 8 movie of all time is Hot Rod. The one with Andy Samberg,
Eddie rides a moped.
a motorcycle. He's a stuntman.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was like a moped.
Oh, okay, well, like some of it.
Maybe it was a motorcycle. I don't know.
That's a great movie. Okay, it's like, first off, let me lay the scenes for you. Not only has it got some of the best like script like jokes, and it has, what's her name, Isla Fisher, great
okay.
supporting actress, but like it's like you could play it at any party for any and like everyone's gonna love it regardless. It's a great one. It's so quotable too. Like Jeremiah and I, we do that like when they chanted before he got into a fight with his stepfather, where he's like, gods of war, and then like that's a good part.
Is that the movie where they're introducing themselves and they said, and my name is, I don't remember his name. My name is John, and I like to party.
And then his brother Kevin says the same thing. He goes, "No, Kevin, I know for a fact that you do not party." He goes, "Okay, whatever." Yeah.
Yes.
Good one.
All right. How about this one? Is one of the all-time favorites as well.
Okay.
Mel Gibson, Braveheart.
Oh,
Freedom.
that was a good movie.
Oh yeah, it's some of the best fight scenes
Uh-huh.
in a movie. There's a whole genre of movies that have these giant battle scenes that are fought with axes and swords and shields and very little armor. And anyway, so Braveheart, the story of William Wallace from centuries ago. I guess he was credited with uniting. I don't know what he was actually accredited for, but this movie is fantastic. He united the clans, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good one. I remember half watching it when you and Jeremiah were watching it, but I was sort of like doing something else at the time. So,
Dude, do you know that? Do you remember watching it front to back?
no.
No, you gotta watch it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Okay.
It's so good.
We'll do that. Shoot, that's a good one. I know, yeah, people who say freedom all the time, but like,
Want me to do one more because I think I still
okay.
got a couple more on you. Hunt
All
for
right.
Red October. So this is a part of
Yeah.
the kind of the one of the these films were Hunt for Red October was part of the Jack Ryan series. Patriot Games and this Clear and Present Danger. The Jack Ryan character. This is when this first came out. I don't know if it's when it first came out, but this was, I think, 99 or 2000. Alec Baldwin and Sean Connery. Submarine movie. Seems like all of the movies that I like were from 20 years ago. But anyway, a Russian submarine that had the latest technology, and the ship was built for preemptive nuclear attack. And the captain, who wasn't actually a Russian national, he knew that this machine was built for war, and so he decided to defect and give the submarine to the Americans.
Yeah.
Incredible.
That's a good one. Yeah. I know that's like one of the movies that you always like whenever we have like friends over and you go, well, have you ever watched Hunt for October? And it's kind of like a running joke between Jeremiah and I now. We're like, hey, Hunt for October. But like, that is a good movie. That's the one. Okay. That's the one with the scene where he goes, where the missiles are, or not the missiles, the torpedoes. They're firing at them. And like, oh man, like, what are we gonna do? There's torpedoes firing at us. Should we like go away? And then Sean Connery goes, no, go towards them or whatever.
Yes, that's right. That's right. He was steered right into the path of the torpedo.
That was good.
Good movie.
All
right, your turn.
My turn. Number 7, I put John Wick, but I put John Wick number 3.
Okay.
So, I mean, those 3 movies are like wonderful. But I did end up seeing the 3rd one most recently, and I did like it a lot more. Granted, I saw that one in theaters, while 1 and 2 I saw on a couch back to back with my brother and uncle. But, I mean, the 3rd one was just so good. Like, not only do you have him riding a horse and fighting people, but then you have that scene where they go into the House of Mirrors, and like it's all like nonstop action. John Wick is like a cartoon character, and like he's just slicing down people and just like shooting bullets and stuff, and everything is really well done. So
I think so. I didn't see the 3rd one,
Oh.
and I remember falling asleep on at least the 1st or 2nd one. But then,
Yeah.
I mean, for those of you listening who don't know, that's one of my favorite things to do is spend $12 on a nap. So most notably, one Jose Thanksgiving, I went with my brothers to go watch Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious. What was it?
Yeah.
Fast and Furious number 5 or something like that. And I remember sitting in this movie theater, and it's like at 10 o'clock at night, whatever. And as the opening credits or the opening scene came on the screen, I closed my eyes just for a second. And then I opened my eyes, and the closing credits were rolling. So that was probably my most complete $12 nap.
that is awesome.
Okay, my turn, I think.
Yeah.
How about this one? Saving Private Ryan. Again, Tom Hanks. So I do love Tom Hanks as a producer, director. This movie about World War II, and Matt Damon plays Private Ryan, and this squad gets commissioned to go find Private Ryan because his 2 brothers were killed in action, and so they wanted to make sure that Private Ryan, the last of his brothers, didn't die during the war, so that that family could have it. They could preserve at least one of the boys.
That's a good one.
Incredible story. Who knows if it was based on a true story or what? I don't know. I don't even know that. I wonder if it was. But just incredible kind of journey through what World War II must have looked like and how horrible it was.
Yeah. No, that was good. With like a lot of, action, but those scenes when the characters are just like monologuing to each other. Like I think the one when they're in the hospital room at the night, that was really good.
Well, there was definitely a lot of great scenes, but what made the movie great was just the the human aspect of the story, just the wrestling with why people do what they do,
Yeah.
and having compassion for one another, and duty and purpose and drive and dedication, and all of these things exhibited, fear, ambiguity. It was a great movie.
Okay. I like that. My number 6 movie
Go ahead.
is Kill Bill Volume 1 by Quentin Tarantino.
Love it.
Yeah.
That narrowly missed my list.
Oh,
but
man.
Kill Bill, of course, I love Quentin Tarantino, and Kill Bill, all up there with Pulp Fiction, and what else did he do? Jackie Brown and Hateful Eight.
Django Unchained.
Yeah, great movie. But Kill Bill, of course, the whole franchise
Yeah.
was phenomenal.
They were good.
So
But I think I like that one a lot. I watched it, I think, for the first time with you and my brother. But most recently, I saw it last year on my birthday with all the boys, and we were out in the back with the projector on the back in the backyard on a
nice.
screen, watching that with each other. Just getting with the boys, watching a good old samurai movie. There are people chopping each other's limbs off. There's like no, what is it? There's no like limitation to the amount of blood in human bodies in that universe for whatever reason.
I just love the homage to the Bruce Lee genre of movies from the 70s.
Yeah,
So,
good freaking stuff. Oh, yeah, that was it. Kill Bill.
all right. Still on that World War II theme, I loved Fury. This
Wait,
is
I don't think I've seen that one.
seriously.
Seriously, let me look it up. What?
Fury is the movie with Brad Pitt in the in World War II. He's a tank commander, and he's got a crew. Shia LaBeouf is one of the guys in the crew, and again, highlighting the horrors of World War II, killing the killing of Germans. Well, everybody's getting killed, so on all sides, and just a horrific view of war and how horrible it is. But just an amazing story of kind of brotherhood between guys who have been working together or, at war together. And then, of course, there's introduction of new characters. And it was thrilling. It was exciting and scary. And it was great.
Well, that sounds good. Should definitely watch it soon. You ready for my next one?
Yeah.
It's number 5 is Spiderman Homecoming. That is a good film.
Okay.
I watched it. Oh shoot! It was in 2017 when it came out. When did it come out? But
Which one's Homecoming? Is that with Marissa Tomei is his aunt?
Yeah.
And they meet what do you call it? Iron Man. Mm-hmm. It's Tony Stark. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah, that came out in 2017, and I remember that was like the summer movie, right? And so when I came back home after, I was home finally after, and shoot, I don't know,
What's that?
I'm gonna cut this out, but like, yes, so Spider-Man Homecoming, 2017. Put yourself in my spot, right? You just come home from a long summer, and you're gonna watch a movie with your buds, and you're doing that, but right before, you're like, hey, I took an AP test. I might as well check the grades because today's the day that they come out. So I went and I checked it. I got a 4 on my AP Psych, and I was like through the roof, like freaking pumped, right? Because I've never scored that high on an AP before. I watched that movie. I was like giddy because of the 4, but then also because I finally got to see, Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man. That was like so, like, up there. Because when you saw him in Civil War, like the teaser trailer when Spider-Man jumped down, I was excited because growing up watching the Sam Raimi and then even the Amazing Spider-Man, watching it again for the 3rd time, like I know some people have been like burned out over the years because like, oh man, why are there so many like iterate like me? I was like, wow, it's coming together. Like it's all coming together, and that was great watching him web sling. You know.
Well, so this movie made my honorable mention list for sure. In fact, probably of the Marvel movies, this is my favorite, if not one of my favorites for sure. Actually, I take that back. So I did like Homecoming a lot, but I probably the movie that made my honorable mentions list is the original one with Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst. That franchise with the scene where he is just learning about his newfound powers, and he gets jumped by his fellow high school classmate in the hallway.
Yeah.
And everything goes into slow motion. That one still gives me gives me chills, but I still love that scene. That's one of my favorite scenes of the movies. Of that particular movie, but then of movies in general. So, okay, I think it's my turn.
Yeah.
So I'm down to 4 movies, actually, kind of 3. So again, I was born in the '60s, raised in the 70s and 80s, and so 1977, this movie came out, and this changed kind of the world. Star Wars, and so loved Star Wars. I'm a big fanboy of the entire franchise, the Skywalker series, as it were, and of course I like the offshoots too. And I, in particular, like most recently the J.J. Abrams versions of the Star Wars story. But Star Wars the original, that was just unheard of. I mean, it just it changed the way movies were done back in the 70s. And so, funny enough, if you go back now, what was that? Some 30, 50, 40 years ago. Is that right? Yeah, 40, more than 40 years ago, 43 years ago. Geez Louise, that's a long time ago. It's pretty, the special effects and everything are, nothing compared to what they are today. It's a great story, but, a lot of it is, a lot of it was, if I'm being honest, kind of cheesy. Like when they brought in that droid that was floating and had a syringe that was gonna supposedly be some sort of a torture device or something. Yeah, that was kind of cheesy. But what I really loved out of all of that whole series, well, actually, it's not even a movie in the series. It was one of the offshoots called Rogue One, which is the backstory for Episode 4, A New Hope. Yeah. And so it's how they got the plans for the Death Star into the hands of the rebels so that they could then, during the movie New Hope, of course, they blow up the Death Star. That's the kind of the whole, that's the crux of that whole movie. And so the backstory, getting the plans, was an incredible, and I think that was J.J. Abrams that did that movie. That was phenomenal. That's my favorite movie of that franchise, and that franchise is my favorite of all time.
That's a good one. I remember seeing it with you and Jeremiah, but like
seeing what? Which one?
Rogue One.
Oh, okay.
Those were good, and we've seen the new ones together as well. But like, I don't know. I just didn't buy the hype of Rogue One. I guess. Your list is riddled with a bunch of war movies, and that was like the most war movie style of the Star Wars. So like,
yeah,
that makes sense. That's good. They're all good though. I really like Star Wars. I'm surprised they didn't make it on the list. Specifically my list. If we're gonna keep talking about that, it's gonna be number 4 for me is The Matrix.
Okay.
With just the first one. I don't know if you want to count the other two as being. Number 4 is coming out.
It is coming out?
It like soon, right? Well, like, or eventually they announced it. I think it's like 2021 release. But yeah, Keanu Reeves obviously, steals the show. Great action. But like also growing up with my brother, he watched it before I did because he's older than me, and he would just be like, "Zach, The Matrix is so good." Right? And he'd like try and do kung fu on me and tell me about like how cool it is. And I'm like, "What? It's got to be some good movie." And so I I remember taking my uncle's laptop, Uncle JT, and I was in my bed, and I pulled it open, and he played The Matrix for me. I just sat there, just in myself, like huddled in my blanket, into the room. It's dark. Like I don't want Mom to come in because I'm watching The Matrix now, and they're like shooting bullets at each other. And the scene where he blows up and the fire goes in slow motion. And like at the time I was like, really, like, Jeremiah, are you kidding me? Is this? But like every time I've watched it since, it's been good.
Well, yeah, that's definitely that didn't make my list, but that was definitely up there in the top 20, if not the top 10. That franchise was good. I didn't like the number 2 and number 3 as much as I liked number 1.
Yeah,
that was kind of revolutionary in thinking as well. I liked how pressing into that, just kind of, what's the genre of that movie?
like cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk, is that dystopia or no? Not really.
Somewhat.
Anyway, I definitely like the what do you call it? The fantasy genre of that.
Yeah, that was really good.
Why don't you do one more, because I only have 2 left.
Okay. Oh, you lumped Star Wars and
Rogue One were kind of the...
So number 3, I put Your Name, or I guess Kimi no Na wa. It's an anime movie. It was... Hear me out. It was, shoot. It released in 2016. And it was, I think it was... I keep saying that, but like... number 1 animated movie of the year in like so many different like charts, and it's good. I mean, have I ever talked to you about this movie before?
No. Well, I don't know if you have.
Maybe you should. But yeah, let me set the scene for you, right? It's kind of like a love story movie, basically. It's about this girl who lives in the country and this guy who lives in Tokyo, right? But mysteriously, every now and then they'd be having these weird dreams, right? And he goes, well, sometimes I dream that I'm a girl in the countryside. And she goes, sometimes I dream that I'm a guy in Tokyo. And it turns out that they realize that they're switching bodies with each other. And they're living each other's lives every so often. And so the movie's, like, it starts off with them in the first act living on their own. The second act, they're switching bodies and they're getting used to it. And then the third act is when he realizes, oh, something has changed, something isn't as it should be. And while they never in the movie go into depth as to like why they ended up switching bodies, it's like drawn up to like fate and the red ribbon that connects the two. But what they do is they end up saving each other's lives, pretty much exactly doing that. And the whole every aspect that goes into the movie when it's animated, every frame, has hours put into it, and there's like so much care put into every single detail. And in the story writing, I remember watching it for the first time. It was on the way up to our grandparents' house. I was in the car. Jermaine handed me his phone. He goes, "Here, watch this. It's good." And I watched it. And on the way up, I had to brush away a tear. I was like, I don't cry during movies, but
how long was this movie?
Like an hour 30. So, or something like that. Yeah, but I watched it on our car ride, and it was amazing. Every bit as amazing as it deserves to be. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it sounds amazing. I'll probably still never watch it. I mean, come on.
Come on. Yeah.
All right. Well, so I remember going back to what we were talking about before, as far as genres go for Matrix. I guess that when you're looking through Netflix or Amazon, it's science fiction fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I definitely am a fan of science fiction fantasy because of Star Wars. That was the first.
Yeah.
So
the big one.
All right. So my number 2 is The Passion of the Christ.
Ooh.
And so Mel Gibson directed this, and in fact, I don't know if everybody, maybe not a lot of people know this, but there's one scene in the movie where Jesus' hand was being stretched onto the cross and a nail was being hammered through his hand or his wrist, I guess. And there was the scene or the shot just showed his hand being stretched, and then the hand of the soldier who was holding the hammer, and that was Mel Gibson's hand holding the hammer. So anyway, there's a lot of kind of symbolism throughout the movie. There was obviously, it was a great kind of illustration of the story that's told in the first 4 books of the New Testament, the Christian New Testament. And anyway, just a brilliant storytelling that was done in the movie. And yeah, you can't not watch that without bringing in a box of Kleenex with you, because you're in trouble.
I think that's
Otherwise.
the first rated R movie I've ever seen. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, yeah. You want to hear my number 2?
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. Inception.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one. So, the first time I watched it, it was, I think you came home because winter camp got canceled, and so you had all the kids just,
Winter camp for junior high kids?
Yeah, we were just all in a room. We're like, well, I mean, I guess our weekend plans for camping were canceled. What are we gonna do now? And so I think someone Redboxed it. It was either you or Mom, and we just watched the movie together.
With a bunch of kids in the living room?
Yeah, that was good. I remember watching it and thinking, man, I don't understand this at all. And then
You were in junior high, obviously?
no, I was in
you-
in elementary school, like 5th grade.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
'cause-
So setting the context for everybody that's listening, we over the years our family's been involved with Young Life, and so one of the things that we do during the winter or the fall really is take a bunch of kids to camp. And so when we were living in in Roseville, Sacramento area, we had kids that I don't know how many kids we had going to camp, probably a dozen or so kids that were getting ready to go to winter camp. And this particular winter, the winter was pretty severe, and so the camp was kind of snowed in, and there was. It's not like it was really dangerous necessarily, but it was a potential that we got to camp and then got stranded, with no electricity, and that would have been really a bummer for hosting camp, and so they canceled it. And I think that year they canceled it twice, and so extremely disappointing for the kids, because as the camp staff who made the call to cancel the camp, of course, was being extremely optimistic that we were going to be able to hold it, even though the weather was kind of getting severe. And so it was with really huge disappointment to call at the last minute and say, sorry, we're not going to do it, it's not going to be safe. And so kids were extremely disappointed. Okay, so that's the context. And then so we're like, okay, so we got this whole weekend that these kids are now don't have any plans, and so we hosted them at our house.
Yeah,
And we watched,
movie night.
it was a rated R movie.
No, I think it's 13.
PG-13.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was good.
With and so the movie is Leonardo DiCaprio,
Yeah.
right? And also kind of revolutionary in it's science fiction.
I would call it that.
Yeah, science fiction, and just a really original plot. The idea of planting ideas in someone's consciousness.
I don't know if I was around the social circle too much before it came out, but I mean, now anytime someone says the word Inception, it's almost like a callback to that movie, right? Where it's like, oh man, I have a box inside of a box. It's Boxception, right? And that's kind of like their dream inside of a dream.
Yeah, it's a good movie when vocabulary is based on
Yeah.
it, right? Yeah,
Like
that's
the
a good one.
Matrix. Like, oh man, like.
There is no spoon.
But yeah, Inception. That was a good film. And then watching it again recently, because I think it was on Netflix. I just spent 3 hours of my life at the dead of the morning. Nothing better to do. That was good.
Good movie.
Made more sense this time around. I don't know if I'll ever
I want to get one of those toys. Those
I have one.
infinity spinning toys. You do have one?
It doesn't spin infinitely, but it's the same mold.
Well,
Yeah.
how it doesn't spin infinitely? How long does it spin?
I don't know. It's
long
just
time?
a top. Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
All right, ready? Dun dun dun.
Honorable mentions.
My my top.
What? Yeah, number. Well,
My
don't
number
you want
one.
to mention honorables before the number one?
Oh, honorables?
Yeah.
Oh, I shoot. These are like I won't even go into explanation. I'll just
Yeah,
read the
just-
list. How about
yeah.
that? Unbreakable
Mm-hmm.
as M. Night Shyamalan,
Mm-hmm.
Boiler Room, Ben Affleck. Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. I mentioned that earlier. Oh, how about this one? 10 Commandments. I think that was filmed in the 60s, maybe.
Okay.
It was in color, so Charlton Heston.
Mm-hmm.
That one was awesome. Clerks.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, anything Kevin Smith, but Clerks was his original in black and white. Toy Story and Lion King, my top two of the Disney
Yeah.
animated movies. Heat, another heist movie with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro and Val Kilmer. This is a good one from the is it 80s, I guess? Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
Early 90s. No. It was 80s. Weekend at Bernie's was released in the 80s, and that it's just a silly kind of sophomoric humor, but hilarious back in the day. Here's another one from the probably 70s, if not 60s, 70s probably, is The Sting. That's Robert Redford and Paul Newman. Great movie, a heist, the original heist movie.
Okay.
They pull off this. It's like the type of movie that Ocean's 11 was based on. Speaking of which,
a really
Ocean's
good movie.
11 is in there.
Yeah.
Here's a movie that I can't, if it comes on TV or if I'm scrolling through the channels and it's on TV, I have to watch it. It's Drumline, Nick Cannon, about this the college marching band, and in particular the Drumline.
Great soundtrack.
Great, another great movie. Should have made the top 10. Really, is Rudy. That's with Frodo. What's his name?
Oh.
He played he played Samwise Ganges in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. I don't know, with
I'm ashamed to say I don't remember
The Hobbit.
his name. Anyway, good
films.
good movie.
Good films.
Yes. Yeah. How about yours?
Yeah, honorable mentions. La La Land.
Okay.
That's a good one. Emma Stone, and also like the art style, not art style, but like the soundtrack is phenomenal, and the way they storytell is really good. Akira is another Japanese anime movie, and it's kind of like a story about like a kid who blows up a city. I guess is pretty much how it goes, but along the way there's just so much like depth and maturity and just character development between it and like it. I don't know if you've talked to anyone who's seen or done like anything anime ever, but that's like genre defining as a whole. So very good, very good. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Oh,
You said that already.
That was my highest honorable mention. I moved that to my top. That's
Okay.
a good one. Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind.
Weird movie.
Weird movie. I've only seen it once, but I really, really liked it.
That's Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I like that premise too. Pokemon the movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back. That's the first one.
That just came out recently.
They released another one. Like they did not a re-release, but like they did a reimagining for
Okay.
Netflix. That was a good one. But like the original, I remember watching it, or just like all of those Pokemon movies. They were fun. Megamind, the animated film, that was good. Yeah, Shrek, Tangled, Star Wars, The Lord of the Rings, and then Sam Raimi's The Spider-Man, the 2001. Those were good. Those are the honorables.
All right, so here we go. What's your top?
All right, you want to say it on 3,
1,
2,
2.
3.
The
Karate
Shack.
Kid. Oh. I mean, we're halfway the same movie. Like,
Okay. Well, let's talk about it.
Okay.
Talk about the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Daniel-san.
Daniel. The Karate Kid is my favorite movie of all time. And, I mean, for what it's worth, it's just amazing. There's this kid who moves from his hometown, all the way out to...
From the East Coast all
Yeah.
the way to L.A., to Reseda.
And he has to deal with growing pains, moving to a new school, finding a girl he likes, and learning how to deal with bullies. It's a story about karate and how who you are shapes how you fight or whatever. I don't know. It's really fun. It's really good.
Well, of course, I mean, that was one of my favorite movies, too. That was filmed in the 80s as well,
Yeah,
right? And
1984.
84, was it?
Yeah, that's when it released.
Seriously? Wow. Okay, so Elizabeth Shue, of course,
Yeah. Oh.
she was amazing. And then, what do you call it? Mr. Miyagi, what's his...
Pat Morita.
Pat Morita.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
played a character called Arnold in the TV show Happy Days.
Uh-huh.
You don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, Arnold was a lovable character from the 70s. 70s show called Happy Days, where he was the owner of a 50s cafe. And anyways, he didn't have a lot of lines during the show, but every time he came on, he was hilarious. And so he played Mr. Miyagi, of course, in Karate Kid, the wise instructor. So yeah, that was it. I really loved that movie. That was who could you can't not get chills watching that very last fight scene.
Yeah.
Of course,
And
I love
with
that.
the dun dun dun, with the crane kick, and you wanna know why it's actually my favorite movie of all time? Like the reason why?
Why?
It's because when I was 12, signing up for Facebook, and I was going through hey, tell us about yourself, and I'm like, I don't know, and one of the options was favorite movie. That was like the movie that I watched recently, or like the closest to. So I put it in, and I honestly forgot about it for 3 years later until I was doing a quiz during Young Life. Like, hey, we pulled, everyone's Facebook data, and you're gonna have to guess who it is. And their card was, whose favorite movie is The Karate Kid? I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. And I guessed it correctly. And ever since, it's been, that's just been my buzzword. What's your favorite movie? Oh, you want to know mine? It's The Karate Kid.
All right, so I have not similarly, but I also have trivia about that particular movie.
Uh-huh.
So Elizabeth Shue and Daniel.
Uh-huh.
So what was her name in the movie? What was her character's name?
Is it Allison?
Allie. Yeah,
Allie, yeah.
So anyway, they I think shared their first kiss at golf and stuff. When he leans in and goes, "I'm a jerk," and then he kissed her. Right? Remember that?
Uh-huh.
So I went to that golf and stuff, and
What?
right there on the fence, I kissed a girl.
Did you recreate the entire scene?
Yes. Well, I don't know about recreating the whole scene, but kind of. And so,
That's
anyway,
awesome.
she shall remain nameless because it wasn't your mom.
I was just gonna ask.
That was a long time ago.
That's awesome.
All right.
Yeah, tell me about the shack.
The Shack, of course, The Shack.
Oh,
I couldn't even tell you the names of the actors in the movie, embarrassingly. But of course, the movie, probably the story is my favorite of all. The book was phenomenal, and I just love the movie because I love the book, and I just love the story, and I love just the reimagining. You used that term earlier. The reimagining of the story of God and how she relates to us, because God is beyond gender, right? And so that's kind of portrayed in the movie, and a lot of people react to that negatively, and I don't let that bug me. I just love it. I love the movie. I love
it's a good one.
the story, the scene. Well, here, I'll tell you what my favorite scene is of the movie, but tell me what your thoughts were or your reactions.
I saw it in theaters just once. I mean, I really liked it too. I did not read it. I listened to the audiobook in my car. I borrowed the CDs from church. borrowed in quotes, I guess. But then, watching it was good. I remember you and Jeremiah talking about the book a lot before it came out, or just like in general. I remember seeing it around the house back when we were, yeah. And, I know it was good. I cried during it. Pretty much everyone was. I mean, you heard sniffles the entire time. I don't know. It's a good film. I liked it a lot. And then I think it says a lot, when it... I don't know, like, a lot of Christian movies aren't that good.
That's being nice. That's being nice. Most of them are terrible.
Yeah, but that was a good one.
Yeah, well, in particular, in my life, there was it resonated a lot because the character went through not super similar stuff, but I could relate. It's always relatable, right? You can always find yourself in a good movie. You can find yourself in it, or you can find your story in theirs. And in particular, between 2004 and 2007, my father, your grandfather, died in 2004, and then in 2007, my mom died, and then 6 months later, my oldest brother died, and so that was a rough several years between 2004 and 2008, and that's when I was reading the book. I don't know exactly when it came out, but anyway, that the main character wrestles with the relationship that he had with his father, and then of course goes through an extremely dark time where he loses his daughter, and he wrestles with God. And man, what a great story of kind of opening your eyes to see all of everything that's going on. The scenery of the garden that looks like just chaotic mess, but when you look at it from a different angle, it looks just extremely beautiful. And my favorite scene that I'm just getting to is when Sarayu, the Holy Spirit, Jesus, and then Papa are all in the kitchen preparing a meal and dancing. And just this idea of perichoresis, this kind of the theological term of dancing. And, this is an illustration of the Holy Trinity in relationship with one another, and how, and the movie just relates to how we are part of that as the human race, and we're part of that dance. And so that, among other places, or there were other places in the movie where I cried, but that one really, really got to me. I just love that picture of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit dancing with one another.
Yeah, that was good.
It's good.
Well, we're coming up on 55 minutes.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations if you listened to this whole thing.
Yeah.
If you had the patience to listen to this whole thing. Thanks for hanging out with us. That was fun, Zach. Thanks for asking me to be on your cast. This was fun. It was fun to walk through this with you.
Thanks, Zach, for being here as well. I mean, I like it. Well, that's pretty much it.
Maybe we can do this again. Maybe talk about TV.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of TV that has influenced us over the years, and so it'll be fun to talk about.
I don't want to because I should have talked about anime again.
Well, and I'll probably talk about stuff from the 70s. So there you go.
Well, there you go. All right, everyone. This has been Every Day with Zach Jose, with your host Zach and your wonderful co-host Jonathan. Anything you want to plug? Any social media or I don't know, what do you... an influencer?
Well, I don't know. You're catching me out of the... yeah, I'm a social media influencer, so check out my Instagram, at Johnny Mocha. So Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, you can find me at Johnny Mocha.
All right, well, you heard it here first, folks. All right, thank you, everyone, and that's a wrap.